As always, please remember to subscribe to the channel and tell me what you think about it. There was a series on HBO called The Newsroom, and during a conference, one of the hosts said that America was not the best leader in the world, and he was very controversial since the beginning of the series. The anchor named Will, portrayed by actor Jeff Daniels, said, "We, the United States, is 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 23rd in science, 49 in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in medium household social income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world only in 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending. Where the United States spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies, is defense military spending. Now, none of this is the fault of 20 years old college student, but talking to one of the person that was interviewing him, nevertheless, are without a doubt a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I sincerely don't know what the freaking you are talking about. Yosemite? We, the United States, used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws. We struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty and not on poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouth was. And we never beat our chest. We built great big things, make ungodly technology advances, explore the universe, cure disease, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economists. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election. We didn't scare so easily. And I absolutely sure he was right. Picture this: on January 6th, 2021, the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. was violently attacked by a mob of supporters of President Donald J. Trump. Hello and welcome to my channel, Political Talk. I'm Hugo Pellegrino Low, and today I'm gonna talk about the events of January 6, 2021. They sought to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential election by disrupting the joint sessions of Congress assembled to count electoral votes that would formalize President-elect Joe Biden's victory. On January 6, 2021, the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. was violently attacked by a mob of supporters of President Donald Trump. They sought to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential election by literally disrupting the joint session of Congress assembled to count electoral votes that would formalize President-elect at that time, Joseph Biden, victory. They sought to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential election by disrupting the joint session of Congress assembled to count electoral votes that would formalize President-elect Joseph Biden victory call to action by Trump. Thousands of his supporters gathered in Washington, D.C. on January 5 and January 6 to support his false claims that the 2020 election had been, quote-unquote, stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, and to demand that Vice President Mike Pence and Congress reject Biden's victory. Starting at noon on January 6th, at a quote-unquote Save America rally on the Ellipse, Trump repeated false claims of election irregularities, and he said, "If you don't fight like hell, you're not gonna have a country anymore." During and after his speech, thousands of attendees walked to the Capitol and hundreds breached police perimeter as Congress was beginning the electoral vote count. Men in the crowd broke into the building, occupying, vandalizing, and looting it, assaulting Capitol police officers and reporters and attempting to locate lawmakers to capture and harm. Some rioters chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," America's vice president, after Mike Pence rejected false claims by Donald Trump and others that the vice president could overturn the election results. Some vandalized and looted the offices of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other members of Congress. With building security breached, Capitol Police evacuated and locked down both chambers of Congress and several buildings in the Capitol complex. Rioters occupied and looted the empty Senate chamber, while federal law enforcement officers defended the evacuated House floor. Pipe bombs were found at the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee, and Molotov cocktails were discovered in a vehicle near the Capitol. Despite this, Trump resigned. Despite this, Trump resisted sending the National Guard to quell the mob. But I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think that this day would have happened if Donald Trump was the president at the moment in history? According to an interview with National Public Radio, what Ryan Goodman tells is what the timeline helped us understand is why the American people shouldn't be focused on the events of January the 6th. They shouldn't be hyper-focused on them. The groundwork was laid well in advance. House impeachment manager say the same. The legal brief for this president's impeachment trial cites former President Trump's acts long before January 6th. His lawyers respond that Trump had a right to free speech, that the Senate has no right to try him, that he didn't intend violence. They have not specifically denied what he did. From various sources, we have made our timeline, beginning with a White House briefing on April the 7th, 2020. That day, then President Donald Trump made false claims about the security of mail-in ballots. The issue for him is that since Donald Trump has raised so many conspiracy theories and having including the Attorney General William Barr in his pocket and the COVID mess going on for almost a year, there was a gigantic breeding ground for what happens on that dreadful day. You know, I actually do believe that America eventually, if we take care of the country, is gonna be a better place. But unfortunately, we're all having people like Mitch McConnell and other Republicans that literally don't wanna have to at least have a talk with the Democrats. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you have any doubt, you can always send me an email to hugo.loh@gmail.com. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.